Hello friends, how are you? Hi, Sophia here with Stampin' Up. I am going to show you a fun fold today. And oh my gosh, this is I'm using the Moonlit Flora paper pack. And this is in your catalog on page 34. I have a video prior to this I'm also going to post with it that shows you all the papers that come with it and both sides. It's gorgeous. It's nice and sturdy. It's nice and thick. I love it. So I'm using Moonlit Floral, and I'm also going to be using the Wild Bunch. This was the product of the month for $5 with the $75 order, and I'm going to use Just a Little Note. So I'm using that too. Okay. So let's show you what I did. This is what I made. So I'm going to bring it up here for you. Can you see I have a double layer butterfly. I'll show you how I made that. And then I took the little gilded wings accents, the butterflies, and I put one down, and then I put a butterfly on top of it, and these are the new in color butterflies. So I used one of those there and there, and then I used our white gel pen and added a few accents on it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that awesome? And then I put a little butterfly inside, stamped a little image on the message page. But isn't that adorable? How fun. And you guys, this is easy. This is so easy. I made these quicker than I've made other cards. It was so easy. Okay, so that's what we're going to show you. I love it. Okay, so you start with a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and you can get 3 cards out of one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. You do 2 cuts, and then you do scoring. So I have a 12 by 12 white sheet of paper. I'll show you real quick. So you're going to cut, your card size is 12 by 4. So here's one card. Here's your second and third card. Okay, so we are going to get 3 out of one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Then you're going to score super easy. You're going to score at 4 inches and at 8 inches, or flip it around. I'm just flipping it around because of space. So you score at 4 and 8, or 4 and 4 from each end. Okay, so if you can see, we have our score lines. Trust me, they're there. I know it's challenging to see on camera. All right, so we have our 2 scores at 4 and 8, or 4 and 4, turn it around. Now we want to score the end pieces in a diagonal, both going the same way. Super easy. So you are going to move your cutting blade out of the way. You're going to slide your paper in. Let me zoom in maybe a little bit more for you. So you're going to find your first score line at 4 inches. So you're going to put that in the gutter of your trimmer and put your point. I'm going to come down a little bit for you guys. So the score line will meet the gutter of your trimmer, and the point will meet. So you're going to score on a diagonal. Give it a few presses. You don't have to go real hard. You don't want to rip your paper. And then move your paper up, and we're going to do the other end. Same thing. Leave it in the same direction, okay? You're going to put your point in the gutter, and the score line will meet the gutter on this end and give it a couple strokes of scoring. So if we can see this, yes, see my line right there and my line up here. So they're both going the same way, your score lines, okay? I'm going to move my trimmer out of the way. And I'm just going to show you how this folds. So you have your 4 and 8 score lines. All you're going to do is you're going to fold in the first side, and you can give it a good burnish with your bone folder. And then you're going to fold up that first flap. And again, if you want to give it a good crease, then take your other side, trying not to mess up my layout below, and fold in. And then fold down, give it a nice crease. Then when you take these two and fold them together, there's your card. All right, isn't that cute? So easy. So your base is done right there. So that's what your base is. Okay. So it's a 12 by 4 strip of paper, and you can use any color, right? So many colors in the Moonlit Flora paper pack, so you have lots of options. Okay, all right, okay, so we are going to create here. I did some pre-stamping, some prep work just in the allotted time, just to make time go by faster. It's easier. All right, so I have my layout ready. What I decided too when I was doing this, when I was setting up, I think it's easier to adhere all your paper. Oops, let me zoom back out here a second. Sorry there, ladies. And come back in. Okay. What I found was, I think it's easier to leave your paper flat. I just wanted to show you this as a demo, how you come to your card base, okay? But I think once you cut your 4 by 12, and once you do your score lines, okay, lay your paper down and then adhere your pieces. Then we will fold on our score lines. Does that make sense? I think it's easier to work with. So I chose, this is the back of, which one is this? This is the back, I believe, of this one. And I thought this is a nice light paper that you can still write a message on here and it'll show up very nicely. So I just stamped my message and a little decor inside. I'm using, on this one, I wanted something lighter than Berry Burst. Berry Burst is the color of the flowers and what's in this paper pack, but I went a little bit lighter. I'm using Petunia Pop and Old Olive. This is Old Olive. Old Olive down here too, 1st and 2nd generation. Okay, and I just did some other little sample pieces in Old Olive 1st and 2nd generations. I also cut out some sprigs out of paper. I also created this, which I'm going to make on my next card. I just did a little cluster. I did a little sentiment and a little cluster. So one of my cluster pieces is this Berry Burst leaf, and then it's a white sprig stamped with Old Olive on top. And then I took these white sprigs and I tipped the ends in the Berry Burst. Can you see that? Maybe let me show you if I hold up a white piece of paper. Can you see how I tipped the edges with the Berry Burst? Just to give it a little prettiness. So that I'm going to add to my next card. Okay, so let's take our centerpiece and adhere that. Sometimes it's challenging to see your score lines, but we're going to do our best here. Okay, so my centerpiece is down. Now I'm going to take my triangles. So these triangles are, so remember our paper is 4 by 12. So each section is 4 by 4. And your pieces that you cut, so if you notice here, you'll see how this works out when I'm done. These two go together because these two are going to be the front, the focal point of my card. But we have to put them here because we haven't folded and scored on folded on our score lines yet. Okay, and then if you notice, these two and these squares, these are 3 and 5/8. So I did 3 and 5/8 square. So these are 3 and 5/8 square, and this is 3 and 5/8 square. This guy is 3 and 3/4. Okay, does that make sense? Holler if you have any questions. Comment below if you have any questions. I can answer them for you. Okay, I like to make sure that my edges are secure, so I'm using liquid glue because I do like to go to the edge. Whoa, that was a little too much pressure. And sometimes I can't get my tape runner quite at the edge, so I'm using the glue. And then you're going to center this inside of your score lines, that top triangle. Okay, so we're just going to adhere all of our triangles down. I like using glue too because if you need to shift your paper a little bit, it gives you a little wiggle time, and that's nice too. Anyone have this paper pack? I wasn't, thrilled in the beginning when I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty. It didn't wow me. But when I got it, oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, you have to see it. You have to touch it. You have to feel it. Just like anything, it looks so much better in person, right, than it does in the catalog. You have to see it in person. All right, so we're centering all of our triangles in their space. Okay, so I feel comfortable with that. So now we're gonna fold in our edges and fold back our top piece. And then we'll switch sides. You're gonna fold in. See what I mean by, if you're trying to put your paper on when it's already folded, it's just a little wonky. It can be done because that's how I did these two. It works, but just when I was laying this out, I thought, oh, you know what? This might be easier. And if you need to adjust your folds a little bit, you still have time to do that. So now, what I do here, you guys, whoops. 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 Right? Because my message is that way, but my paper is this way. What do I do? Can I lift this up and move it? I might be able to. I think I can. you know, live, right? When you're live, everything happens. And this is a, what do they call this? A learning technique. Tell me what, I can't think of what, embellishment opportunity, something like that. Okay, so here's my card. It's going this way.